How's everybody doing tonight? I'm hoping you're having a great night, morning, afternoon, whichever it may be.
Hi, everybody.
That's my son, Tony.
Hi, guys.
Let me see.
Hey,
Who else is
Stalker.
here? Okay. There we
How
go.
you doing, Stalker?
Okay. And now I'm going to remove it. There. Okay. And let me do my proper welcome here. Oops, that is wrong. Okay, let's try this one.
Acknowledge me.
Ooh, I got that low. Let me change that. That's my bad. Okay, try that again.
Acknowledge me.
Christina, you have been acknowledged. And
Acknowledge me.
Vicky G, you have been acknowledged along with
Acknowledge me.
Spirit Stalker. You have been acknowledged. And to anyone else I might have missed,
Acknowledge me.
that is for you that I may have missed. Thank you guys so much for being here. And today we are going to be talking about Dogman. Now, this is something I've always wanted to know also. I'm always learning something new, whether it's Dogman, whether it's any kind of cryptid. I'm always curious, because just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not there because other people have. And that's why this next guest that's here, his name is Keith, and he's got some experiences to share with us. But first, before we get started, I want to welcome everybody that's here in the chat. Kristen Berg,
Acknowledge me.
Abyss Paranormal,
Acknowledge me.
you have been acknowledged. And make sure you go by and check out Abyss Paranormal also, along with, of course, my girl, my sis, Christina and Son Ghost Squad. And there's my boy, Hana Trucking,
Acknowledge me.
Michelle Wolfung,
Acknowledge me.
and Kelly Lavoie.
Acknowledge me.
You all have been acknowledged. Now, I also want to mention that there's a very good friend of ours whose mom had passed away of cancer. And her name is Natalie. I don't know if she has not come in yet, but
Sending our prayers.
we want to send prayers to Natalie. If you happen to see her, if she happens to come in, she might not, but her mom had passed away of cancer. And so I want to send all my prayers to her. And let's get some prayer emojis in the chat there. Send some love. If you have a loved one that just recently passed away, we send our prayers to you. And I'm going to say this, dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time that you gave us on this earth. We also want to say thank you for uplifting those that needed uplifting. At this moment, though, Father, there is someone that had left us. We may not have known who she was, but we can feel her spirit. And Lord, take her in your hands and guide her to you. She may have been a wonderful person in life, and her energy shall always live on. Thank you, Father, and keep her in flight. We wish her a peaceful journey. And to anyone here that has lost a loved one just recently, we wish them a peaceful journey as well. Thank you so much, Father. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
So I wanted to send that out also. Corey, thank you so much for being here.
Acknowledge me.
And so now, without further ado, if Keith, are you still there?
Sorry, I just jumped up thinking you were having an open panel. I didn't know you wanted Keith
No,
and
no, you're fine, Christina. You're fine. Hey, your sister here, Boomer, what's up, Boomer?
Acknowledge me.
And so, Keith, whenever you are ready, sir, we would like to see your face.
Oh, my condolences. Oh, did I say that? Oh, my bad.
How you doing, Keith?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm trying to figure out
That
how
don't.
to get my video working here.
Oh, it's all good. We got plenty of time. Right now, your video is the same color as me's, black.
Let's see. I
And
have no idea.
Abyss Paranormal, how you guys been doing? I watched you last week. You guys go by and check them out, man. They're a lot of fun. Go by, like, and subscribe. Tell them that Eddie and Jen sent you. Betty Van Tassel's in the house.
Acknowledge me.
Thank you so much, Betty, for being here. I've always wanted to know about Dogman, though, and I'm quite sure I'm going to have other guests to come up to talk about both Dogman and other cryptids, too, because I'm always learning something new. Janet Sarlo's in the house.
Acknowledge me.
You have been acknowledged. I would really love for you guys to do us a small favor also. Make sure you hit that like button. We would really appreciate that. That's right, Tony. Yeah. And, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. We'd love to have you as part of our family because that's what we're about. We're about family.
Boomer said,
Love to have-
don't tell me, Christine.
Don't tell me Christine is your special guest. I'll just have to leave.
You still there, Eddie?
I'm still here.
Man, I cannot find my camera to save my life on this phone. I think this is the first time I've done a Zoom call. So
Oh, because you used to have them. What is it? That's what I was gonna get.
StreamYard.
Yeah, I was gonna get StreamYard, but it costs so dang much, and we poor folk here, so we can get. Long as it's not out of pocket. But
Hey, hold on for a second, Eddie. The wife's gonna try and help me with this Zoom call thing here.
okay, hey, if wife wants to show herself, she can show herself too. We love to have you here, wife. We're about family here. We're like the Olive Garden, even though I'm not Italian. But when you're here, you're family.
Hey, forget about it. We all family over here.
That's right. Even though I don't make pasta, I do eat it. So yeah, please hit that like button. As a matter of fact, if you want to share us out, that would be great too, because there's other people out there that probably like to hear about Dogman. So share us out. We love to have you.
Now, what do they call a woman? Dog man. Is it a dog
A
woman?
dog woman. Because my woman be dogging me out all the time. I'm just playing, babe.
I think we're gonna have to call them the dog creatures if there's men and women. We can't discriminate.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, they might come and try to pick at us. Hey, man, we talking about, what about this women? Corey said that was a good voice. Boomer said there's nothing funnier than a Texan trying to do a New York accent. That's right, sir. That would be funny, especially if I was from New York.
There's a lot of them down here.
Oh no, Betty, I knew I needed to call you. Oh, that was a
You're
personal
being
thing.
nosy.
I'm nosy. I'm all in people's biz. My bad. Just in case Betty didn't get that message, she couldn't see it. I helped her out there. That's what it said, Betty. Janet said, I shared you. Thank you so much. You know what? And she gets a round of applause for that because she shared us out.
So did this.
Oh, really? Hey, thank you so much, Biz. Abyss, I'm very sick. Betty, we pray for you and we hope that you get better soon. We really do. Natalie Wolf, how you doing, Natalie? Natalie, I didn't know if you've seen it earlier. Uh, I did a prayer for you. You'll have to play the restream, but I want you to know our heart goes out to you.
Sending prayers,
We are so sorry for your loss.
sending you hugs.
And we're sending you virtual hugs as we speak. My boys are as well. Thank you so very much for being here. And we just wanted you to know that you are in good company. And your mom is also in good company. She's in a better place than this. And think of it as that. So I wish your mom a peaceful journey. I bet you she was a wonderful woman because she had to be, because she got a
I sent him
wonderful
the
daughter
link
like
again.
you.
I got booted.
You got booted? Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I'm gonna send you another one. There,
yeah.
because I'm not gonna boot you.
You booted him?
I didn't boot nobody, not me.
How dare you boot somebody? I should take my
I
boot
don't
and
boot
boot you.
nobody. So there's that link again. And Betty said, "It's my stupid heart being naughty." You know what? I wish you the best. I really do, Betty. We're praying for you, and you're gonna get through it. I know you are, because you're a strong woman. And like the song says, it would take a strong, strong man to never let you go. Or is it to ever let you go? I don't know.
Thank you.
But anyways,
Hey,
here he is. How you doing, Keith?
oh, hanging in there, buddy.
That is
Had the
so-
wife had to help me out with that. It was kind of wonky on my end, so I had to get back out of it and come back in. Now,
Hey, that's
like I said, my condolences with seeing my ugly mug, but is what it is.
right. Hey, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being here, because I wrote down a list that I wanted to ask you, because this shows you how much I really wanted to learn about Dogman. So before I go,
Okay.
I want to say hello to is that Jason Finch? Jason Finch,
Acknowledge me.
you have been acknowledged. Thank you so much for being here. And
Jason, Corey, howdy.
yes, Jason and Corey, glad to have them here. I want to ask you, can you tell me a bit about yourself and where you're from?
I am from Michigan, Oakland County. I was hatched and raised here, so never left.
Were
So,
you so were you ever familiar with the Legend of Dogman?
no, not at all. I mean, I grew up here, whatever, never heard about it. I'll be 50 next month or whatever. So, we grew up in a time of werewolf, right?
Mhm.
So the thing of Dogman never really come across my radar at any given time until it was about 2023 is when I started looking this stuff up.
Okay.
And I started seeing the more Dogman stuff, and oh, what is this? And I started looking into the histories of it here in the state and throughout the country, and that is when I run across BMR and Tex and the Blonde Boo crew and all those guys, and started watching those shows, and the rest is history.
PDXM is in the house. How you doing, Emmy?
Acknowledge me.
So glad you came in. Love M. Hey, M, make sure you put your link in also. I want people to go by and check you out. What were your thoughts on cryptids and dogmen? What was your thoughts at the time when hearing these stories about them?
Well, a little bit of history with it. This all started with this was early 80s, 81, 82. It's about 7 years old. And where I really ran across werewolves or dogmen at that time is me being a kid, parents are asleep. I got on the movie channel, watched The Howling, Bad Life Choice. That's where the werewolf thing started getting planted in my brain pan, and it's been a journey ever since. I mean, I had I had the joy of going camping within about a week or so after watching that movie for my first time. And that
Yeah,
was prety fun. That was, I
I
think I
was
was
gonna
talking about
say
that.
I was gonna say that must have been an experience.
Oh man, you watch that again. I mean, it's spooky being a grown up, let alone, a kid. But there's a kind of a remote campground out here in the middle of the state in Clare County. It's called Mud Lake State Park, I do believe it is. And
Mhm.
to this day, it's still fairly rustic. It's, you get an outhouse and a well pump, and that's it, or a hand pump. And what ended up happening was we all went camping. Everything was good throughout the day. Well, nighttime comes, and we are the only ones in the camp. So it was me, my mom, and dad.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, from across the lake, I started hearing this howling sound and like a frenzied howl. And me being a kid, now I remember I just watched this movie. So now I'm getting scared or whatever. And what ended up happening was throughout the night, the howling kept getting closer and closer.
Mhm.
I'm scared. I'm a kid. I'm scared. Dad's
Right.
there. Nothing's going to happen to me or whatever.
Right.
But what ended up happening in the middle of the night, finally fell asleep, is I don't know what time it was, but what happened, all that howling was a group of coyotes. And my dad had a old Coleman cooler, didn't lock that well, wasn't sealed very tight. So them coyotes smelled that food that was in that cooler and decided to ransack it and drag it all over the camp in the middle of the night. So that's what we woke up to. So that's where this whole journey started, was with that.
Wow.
Now, go ahead.
Oh no, no. I was gonna say, oh no, because I'm kind of blown away by everything that you're saying so far. Hello, Beth, and hello to David Vingman in the house.
Acknowledge me.
Um, I wanted to ask you though, where exactly did it take place? Like, was it in a rural area? Was it you said you was at camping?
Yeah, that wasn't Dogman or anything there. It was just a coyote. So again, where I started getting spooked after watching that movie, and that's where it got embedded in my brain, was it was Mud Lake State
Hmm.
Park. It was in Clare County, Michigan. It's about 1981, 82. I don't remember exactly what year, but that's where this all started.
Hmm.
And I didn't really start having my own experiences until I was in high school. So you're talking about junior year of high school, which is 91, 92
Right.
area. And now I lived out in Oakland County, West End, Oakland County. It's Highland Township.
Okay.
Now it's not really built up or whatever. I mean, you get your neighborhoods here and there, but it's not like a Pontiac or a Detroit or anything like that. You're not in an urban setting at all. It's, for the most part, even now, it's still pretty well wooded, and
Hmm.
it backs right up next to Livingston County, which is still, majority of that I do believe is rural area.
Hmm.
So um, one thing with these things that I've noticed, and I think I just said this on Selena's show, is you do not have to be miles and miles out in the middle of nowhere to run across these things. And with my experience, it was in my yard. And I had a 1 acre fully mowed yard, whatever, handful of trees out front, nothing crazy.
Hmm.
But yeah, you don't have to go way out in the woods in Alaska or Washington State or anything like that to find some of these things. Some they're a little closer than what what people think. So
Because see, I was gonna ask you, like, what time of day was it, or was you alone, or was somebody with you when you seen one?
okay. So the first time I ran across one, again, this is in high school, I had a buddy that had claimed to have run across these things. And Eddie, I mean, you say Bigfoot or monster of some sort or werewolf, even back then, even hell, even now, people are gonna look at you like you're an idiot.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you're pulling my leg. And I'm telling you, I was thinking about this the other day, is, I've been called a liar and all this stuff. You know what? Honestly, sometimes with the experiences I've had, I wish I was, but I'm not. I just tell it like it is and take it or leave it.
Right.
So, but when I first ran across this was in my yard in it was summer vacation in 91, junior year. And on the side street where I live, again, we all have decent sized houses. Each of the plots of land, I think, were like an acre. They were all mowed. The guy behind us had a very well maintained yard. He used it as a golf course. Basically, it was like 25 acres, so you could see clearly. Now,
Right.
I had a pole barn. It's about a 40 by 60 pole barn or so. It was a large pole barn that backed right up to his property. Next to it was a large pile of wood, probably 15, 20 feet high. That's what we used for heating in the wintertime. And anyway, side street, about a half a mile long. We were about halfway down it one night. Now, me and my buddies in high school, what we used to do, we used to call them night missions. And basically we just get dressed up in camouflage and run through the neighborhoods at night, not creating any damage or, any hooligan stuff, just having fun, dodging the cars when they come by and everything like that, hiding from them. But the first night I ran across something. Now, with what I'm going to say here, I use this as an intro with the other, like with Rob and them guys.
Right.
But I cannot confirm exactly what this was. So, keep that on your plate here. Me and my buddy, we walking down this side street, and it's the one side is wooded. The other side of the street is where that guy had his golf course.
Right.
And we're walking down, and it's kind of thick brush and trees on the left side, and had some neighbors that lived on the other side of the woods, so you could get a little bit of light from their porch lights and everything. But we heard some rustling, and it sounded fairly heavy. Now, at that time, I didn't know what it was, but it caused us to stop. And it was, like I said, it was fairly large. I was figuring it would probably be a deer or something like that. Excuse me. But I could see at the point where this brush was kind of rustling around and everything, I'm like, hey, check this out. I want to see what this is. And I had a little flashlight, a little military flashlight. You could put a red and blue lens in.
Right.
And me, I put both of the lenses in. It's like cool, kind of like a black light looking thing or whatever. And I could see the silhouette of something large that was blocking a lot of the brush. I mean, it kind of stood out, but I couldn't tell what it was. Like, hey, Rob, I was talking to my buddy. I said, I'm going to see what this is, man. So I walked up on this embankment, and it was probably about a 2 or 3 foot embankment. So I climbed up onto it, and I'm keeping my eyes, and what I could see was basically upper torso,
Mhm.
like a silhouette of something. The best would be about from the shoulders up. Had a head. I don't remember if it had ears,
Right.
but what I did is I walked in and I got close, fairly close to it, we'll say, and I moved the brush away with one hand, and I had that flashlight in the other, and I shined that light in his face, like that black light thing. Again, it didn't emit enough light to really show me anything, but
Mhm.
I was sitting here looking, trying to figure out what it was, because I saw the silhouette, and man, its eyes opened, and it was this dark ruby red color, and they were fairly large. I think I described them as like ping pong balls, oval shaped, so like eggs or so, and they're
Right.
about 3 or 4 inches apart, and just a massive head and wide shoulders on this thing. As soon as it opened its eyes, and keep in mind when I say close to this, punching distance was about the distance.
Well, you was that close.
Yeah, dude, this was not, hey, I saw this from a quarter mile away. This was close. So when it opened its eyes, it scared the hell out of me. I backed up, damn near fell down into the road, and me and my buddy took off running back to the house. There was nothing growling at us, nothing chased us. There's no smell. It didn't even really move at that point, other than opening its eyes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if it had a smell to it. Did it make any sounds or any vocalizations?
Nope, not at all.
Wow.
No, I really, and this is where all of my encounters have started. And this I don't know how late we're going to be on tonight or whatever, but this goes up until July 3rd of last year. 9:45 p.m. was the last time the wife and I saw one. It was her first time fully seeing one. She's seen some other stuff here and there,
Right.
but yeah, it's crazy running across these things. Like you say, you're curious to want to see one or something. Yep. It's all fun and games until you do.
You actually, I
Yeah.
want to say hello to Octavian, Christy, Cassie. Hello to Cassie. I want to acknowledge you both.
Acknowledge me.
And A.L. Skinner, thank you guys so much for being here. I didn't want you to think I didn't notice you. I'm so sorry because I'm just so glued into this conversation.
Acknowledge me.
Been acknowledged. And I want to ask you this question because you've already covered a few questions I was going to ask you. What was going through your mind in that moment?
With that one, I don't know. It was just like a holy shit like that. And like I said, I just kind of flew back and took off running down the road. I don't think I've ran that much since. But again, like I said, is just to be perfectly clear, I don't know what that was. So that's how I come across as an introduction to it. Could it have been one? Possibly. Could it have been? I don't know. Maybe something supernatural.
Right.
It could have been. I just don't know. Now, when I finally got to see my first one, was later that it was my year of. Oh yeah, so it was senior year of high school. So that was 92. Yep, 92. So winter of 92 going into 93. Had a couple buddies over wintertime. And now keep in mind, like I said, that wood pile and stuff was at the back end of the property, about 80 to 100 feet away from the house. And had buddies over, went to let my beagle out. I bent down, let her out, and man, hair stood up on her back, and she started barking and growling violently. Anybody knows a beagle, they're usually kind of hard to get pissed off or mean. They're fairly friendly. And I looked up, from a crouch, from a bending position, and sure as shit, there was one standing there. It was right back by that burning barrel, which was by the wood pile. Now, keep in mind, I can finally do my math this time. The burning barrel, 50-gallon drum on top of cinder blocks, 45 inches in height. All right. So you're talking you're 3 inches short of 4 feet. This thing was standing there on all fours. It had arms. Front, it didn't have, 4 legs or anything like that. It just clearly had arms. You could tell from the hands on it. But this thing was standing next to that drum, and its neck and head were easily above that. So you're talking something maybe easy 5 feet in height total on all fours.
Wow.
It was fairly long. It had like a short, light gray hair, fur, whatever you want to call it, like a smoky gray color, and very large muzzle on it. And that one, I was thinking about the other day, I could actually see teeth on that one. It had like a snarling appearance. It had a snarling appearance, but it never went away. So I don't know if that was just a facial feature it had or anything like that, so keep that in mind. But its eyes, this is where it got kind of strange for me, is that, not that Dogman's strange or nothing, but its eyes had a glow to it, almost like a sparkle. I hate saying sparkle because it totally goes Twilight, and I'm not down with that. But its eyes were a bright white, almost like that of an arc welder. Anybody that's seen an arc welder, yeah, I never stare at an arc welder. It's bad news. But it was really bright. And the thing was, there wasn't really that much light coming from the house. I had a single bulb in the back, and then I had the light above the the pole barn in the front, and this was behind it. So I started saying some teenage words or whatever, and dragged the dog back in the house and everything. My buddies saw it. Well, they were getting brave. They're like, screw this. We're going to go get this thing. They grabbed some firearms, and this thing stood there and waited. It was just looking at us. And as soon as they started coming out of the house, this thing just doop-a-doo, just walked behind the wood pile and disappeared behind my pole barn. Now, I'm looking, I don't see anything. So I yell at the guys, and they're trying to do their SWAT team stuff, if you will. They're trying to kind of flank it from behind and everything, and they're creeping up. And I ran upstairs onto the second level. I'm out on the porch and the balcony, sorry. And I'm looking, I don't see anything. Nothing came from behind that. Then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye to my left, there that thing was just come trotting down that road, the same road that I talked about earlier. It just kind of stood there and waited for me to look at it. And I looked at it, I'm like, holy shit, there it is. And even at that distance, it still had them crazy glowing eyes. And now the distance here for everybody, I think the yards were about 170 feet wide. So this thing takes off walking towards the main road, and it's just a 2-lane road or whatever. So I run to the front of the house. I grabbed a 30-06 on the way, hunting rifle, and went outside and cracked that window open. Now this thing's standing on the corner of the road and that side street. Anybody's interested, if you want to look up on some Google Maps stuff, it is Highland Township, Michigan. It's going to be the corner of Hickory Ridge Road and Bel Air Drive. It's about a half a mile up from M59, north of M59. This is where this happened. So like I said, if anybody wants to get curious and see what that area is like, there you go. You can
Michiganders in there. You got Jason Finch, I believe. And,
yeah, he's Washington.
And Skull JG 420. Because he said greetings from Michigan.
Cheers, Skull.
And so let me give you the proper acknowledgement.
Acknowledge me.
And hello to Just Jim.
Acknowledge me.
What was going through your mind when you was in that moment?
Panic. Done. Period. The end. There you go. Panic. Because this stuff. Now, one of my buddies throughout school or whatever, especially here at the later half of high school, he lives in an area which we'll get into, where a lot of this stuff is. And he said, "Oh man, I saw one of those out there." And it's all right, Dave, whatever. And hello to the family walking in the background. I see you guys. Oh, hi, Jen. How you doing? A little late.
That's our son Tony. He's autistic. Yeah, our son Manny went to bed. He's severely autistic. And I don't know.
Game.
Oh, okay.
How you doing?
How doing, buddy? How you doing? Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm doing fine.
Good. Glad to hear it. Love the family. Love you guys.
Hey, we love you too. How did you react during that encounter? You wanted to fight? Did you freeze?
No, there was no freezing involved with this. There was, I'm going to put 180 grain, hard, copper jacketed around through its forehead. And that's exactly what I went to do.
Better yet, was there snow on the ground?
I'm sorry?
Was there snow on the ground when you seen this?
Yes, it was snow. And that is a weird thing too, that you bring that up. I do not recall a breath coming from it. In the cold, you'll see somebody's breath. I don't recall it having that, which was another thing that's kind of strange. Wow. But anyway, so I'm sitting here, and again, we're about probably about 170 feet away, maybe a little more, give or take a driveway or so. But I put them crosshairs on it. I had a nice high-powered scope. I put it right between its eyes. Now I could actually see its whole face, its eyes. It still had that snarling look on its face. But again, I think it was just a facial feature of it. It wasn't like an aggressive thing or anything like that. I could see its eyes were bright. They were kind of doing that sparkly thing, which is strange to me. But I sat there for a couple seconds just watching this thing through the crosshair, and there is, how do I say this? I don't know if it was like a mind speak or anything like that. You know, I was young. This is new. This is new right here, right now, a
Right.
minute old. It's 2 minutes ago, you've never seen one of these things.
Right.
You know, right now you have one in your crosshairs. So I just looked at it, I pulled my head away from the scope and I put the rifle down.
Hmm.
And it did a gesture as if it nodded to me. It did a acknowledge me, whatever type thing or whatever. And it nodded and exactly. But what ended up happening, it nodded to me and then it turned towards the road. And there's no cars out there. And it kind of squatted down a little bit, shuffled itself in, kind of like a cat would getting ready to pounce. And in one leap, cleared 2 lanes of road. So you're
Wow.
talking what, 25, 30 feet maybe that it cleared because it landed on the easement on the other side.
Mhm.
Now, on the other side of that, where it jumped, there was a horse farm there. And it was all surrounded by high fence with wire on top. This thing nestled itself again, squatted down a little bit, and one leap cleared that fence. Now you're talking, what, a 6-foot fence, wire on top, you're talking easy 8 feet.
Wow.
And this thing cleared it and disappeared off into the pine trees behind it, and I never saw it again. And, you know, to this day, I've never seen that one. Now, its body was very streamlined, muscular. How can I describe it? It's like my neighbor down the street on that side street, he had a fairly large Dalmatian, or not, I'm sorry, not Dalmatian. What is that? Great Dane. Yeah, Marmaduke dog. And this was substantially larger than it.
Wow.
By at least a foot height and length.
Could have been possibly like a wolf.
Mm-mm. No, this wolf here, I've owned a wolf.
Mhm.
A wolf is not going to get that big. I had an Arctic wolf for a little while. You know, and she had a big, huge, bushy tail, and
Mhm.
you know, she had big paws, but you know, she was kind of, you know, slender width-wise. But no, this thing here, if I had to guess, probably hit 225, 250, easy in the weight department. Excuse
Wow.
me.
Oh no,
And
no.
it was just a monster. But
Did you report
now, no,
it?
nope, not
I'm just
gonna report anything like that. I'm sorry that you broke up a little bit.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I was just trying to cover all the bases. You know, 'cause
Absolutely.
if they see something like that, they would either call the police or or call maybe a cryptid researcher.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna skip ahead. I'm gonna skip ahead a decade and some change here, and I'm gonna bring comment to what you just said. Back
Hell, if
in
anyone around here saw something like that, they'd be calling the National Guard.
Well, when
Yeah,
I
there
had
you
my
go.
sighting, the first thing I thought was I should call animal control because I don't know what the hell this is. It could kill people, you know?
Right. Yeah. This was again, it's one of those things is where who are you really gonna tell and who's going to believe you?
Right.
You know, and that's just it's a crazy thing. But like I said, we're gonna jump forward a little bit here in regards to your comment there, Eddie. I had separated from wife part one in 2003, 2004, January. And so had everything in my car or whatever. And I was out driving with my buddies one night where a lot of this stuff that I'm going over happened. And I got pulled over on this back road. Didn't do anything wrong. I guess the Oakland County Sheriff guy was bored or whatever. So he pulled me over and he's checking everything on me and everything. So I was just talking to him. We were just shooting shit or whatever.
Mhm.
And again, this is very early in the morning, so rightfully so. I mean, in a way, you know, it's like post bar time and everything. So he anticipated me being a drunk, escaping the bars or whatever.
Right.
But I got to talking to him, and he was a younger guy. I think he was younger than me at this point. But at one point, I asked him, I said, hey, I said, how long you been out in Oakland County? You know, he told me he was out there a few years or whatever the case was, out in this Highland Township area. And I said, have you ever run across any weird sightings, or you guys ever have any weird calls or anything out here regarding like large, extremely large dogs that don't seem normal? And he looked at me a little bit. He kind of backed up and he's like, you know, his gears were turning, you could tell. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm just like, large dogs. You know, I just said something on that line. He's like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we did have a call just back like that. And as soon as he said that, another car come flying up the road, which that cut that conversation right to an end. But in this, again, this was 04. And I think it was July of 04. July of 04 was an eventful time for these things. But yeah, so he was going to tell me something. And if that car didn't come down that road, I would have probably gotten some information from him.
Wow. I mean,
And
I was wondering, is there any black people where you live? I'm just wondering. I mean, just in case there might be a black guy, you know, trying to creep into somebody's house wearing a costume. I mean,
yeah, we got some black folks out there. Well, I was good friends with them and everything like that. God rest your soul, Corey. Sorry you're gone.
You know
But,
how some are, you know,
oh yeah,
some places, you know, the darkest place, you know, the darkest thing you see is the pavement. So if they see a black, they're like, "Hey, boy, you out your element." You know, I'm just saying. That's
yeah.
why.
I'm sorry, Eddie. We don't. Where I live, we didn't do the Epstein swing on you folks, so you're good.
Okay, then I can go visit up there then.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
We can go visit up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of black folk up in Michigan. Don't worry.
Yep, I've been to some areas I would suggest not to go, but you know, hey, oh boy, yeah, there's a place northwest of me that I drove through one night because I used to I still do it now. I drive around at night. Yeah. Side note, we went by this big cornfield, and lo and behold, there was something glowing and burning in the middle of it with a whole bunch of cars. Like, nope. I just kept driving.
I think every state has a little area like that. We got it. PA's got it.
Yep.
That's my buddy Boomer D right there, and also in the chat is Christina from Christina's Son Ghost Squad. I'm sorry, I wanted to introduce you. They thought it was an open.
Oh, you're good.
And
that's fine. That's fine.
It wasn't, but I don't come on anyway, just in case they have serious questions.
Right. And so the thing is, back on with that a little bit, and regarding your comment there, I had a guy that worked for me back in the late 90s up until about 2002 at this job I worked at, and he was an old Korean War vet, and he lived out in that Highland area his whole life. And I asked him about this, and again, it's one of them topics. It's kind of reluctant to bring up to people unless you're in this type of community. But I asked him, I said, Keith, dude, have you ever seen anything out here or heard anything like that? And I explained a little bit. And he's like, oh, yeah, back in, I think it was, it's like early 70s. There's at right on the outskirts of where this stuff occurs is called Highland Feed. If anybody's interested, again, I'm going to give you a Google time for Google Maps or whatever. Look up, Milford Road and Livingston. Livingston Road would be between Milford Road and then east ending at Duck Lake Road. So you guys want to do your little map thing or whatever, that gives you a visual of what I'm talking about. But anyway, there still is it's a Highland Feed, and it's, a place that people get for their livestock or their horses or whatever. But he was saying back in the early 70s, he said, "Oh yeah, man, a couple of my buddies, they were Oakland County Sheriff or whatever. Um, they're out there and had an alarm go off or something like that at that Highland feed. And when they rolled up on that place, something come running out of the hay bins that they had there that was dark in color,
Mhm.
very large physical size, and considerably taller, easy, a foot and a half taller than they were. And it took off running, ran across the street, and took off down a set of railroad tracks. And they actually attempted to engage with it and fired on it. They don't know if they hit it or not, but that's what the guy that worked for me told me about. And he was one of those no nonsense guys. Again, he wasn't be one to bullshit anybody for anything.
Right.
So I believe him on that. And then back in 04 again, this is, I think it was, no, I'm sorry. I think it was spring of 05, maybe.
Mhm.
I was back down that Livingston Road area again, just driving around at night, and further near the end of this, near the Duck Lake Road, Livingston area, there's a whole bunch of trails and state park area there. I run across there, and there was a bunch of Oakland County Sheriff cars and crime scene investigator and a coroner. And they didn't have the road blocked off, but they were all up on the side of the road by where this set of nature trails are.
Mhm.
That's kind of for our area. That's kind of strange, and to never hear about anything in the news about it. I don't know what they pulled out of there, but anybody knows is you don't bring out a crime scene guy and a coroner to pick up a dead dog or something. What
Right.
was back there? What happened? To this day I never knew. I still don't know. I don't. So could it have been something related? Possibly, but that's all speculation.
Have how's this experience changed your beliefs or your world view on them? Because I'm quite sure you've heard stories from other
Oh yeah.
people. So has this changed your mind any?
Yeah, it's put my head on a swivel anytime that I go out in the woods or anything like that. Am I scared of these things? No. I mean, I carry a sidearm everywhere, everywhere I go. And not saying I can stop anything like that by any stretch. I've knock on wood, thank God, I've never been attacked.
Hold on one second.
Go ahead.
Jason Finch. Now you're gonna sit there, you're gonna be eating some carrot cake and vanilla ice cream and then bring them for us. Well, what kind of friend are you? You ain't gonna invite us to the party? I see how you are, Jason. No, hey, I bet you that was good too, wasn't it? And
Oh, Jason's always got the good food.
he said, not toot my own horn. You break your neck trying to toot your own horn. But that's another story. Anyways, back to what you were saying.
Oh boy. Oh, yeah, no, I guess I tracked. But where were we?
Well, while you're thinking about it, can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure, Boomer.
In all those sightings being like in that one localized area each time, had you or any of your friends ever thought of like going searching for a den or something like that like try to track it down to its dwellings or whatever?
My one buddy that I'll call Dave, he did. He got his ass handed to him. It's a good way to put it. It didn't kill him, but it made him gain a new respect. What happened on that one was this is senior year of high school. He come in one morning. We had our last names were in the same homeroom. So he come in and he was moving slow. Hold on just a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you sick. I just have that for people. I make them spit, throw up.
Oh, there's some damn allergies.
No, that's okay.
Oh.
I'm my mother-in-law.
All right, but anyway, you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So he come in one morning, dude, what happened to you? He looked beat up. He was kind of slumped over a little bit, moving slow. And he's like, oh, we'll talk later. So I went over to his house, and his house is actually literally right across the street where this stuff happens. He's a 1 block over from where all this stuff has occurred. Most of the stuff has occurred.
Mhm.
I went over to his house. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? I said, somebody kick your ass or something like that? And he's like, no, I went back in the woods, and he called it Darkened Woods or something like that or whatever. I said, why? What happened? He's like, I ran across a red. I said, well, what's a red? He's kind of vague with his details. And he's like, oh, it was one of them. And I said, what'd you do? And he's like, dude, I went down there, and he's a Scottish guy or whatever. And he's very big into the Norse type stuff and ancient, the ancient belief system that, his Vikings. Right. Yeah, he's one of them guys that still has his clan colors from Scotland or whatever. And he decided he was going to be brave in there. He's going to fight one of these things. And that's exactly what he did. He went in there, he had himself a little war hatchet and a knife or something like that. And he went down this trail that's on the side of this lake in this park. Here we go. Dodge 10. It's Dodge 10. Is that Highland Recreation Area? Dodge 10, Highland Township. Anybody can look it up. That's got some bad juju in it. Excuse me. But he walked down there, and he come around this bend, and there was what he would call that red we've adopted as the enforcer. And there's different colored ones out there. There's grays, there's dark brownish grayish one that I've run across. It's black ones, and then there's like a light gray, another white one or so. But he ran across that enforcer, and it was, yes, Jason, Rob lives probably an hour away from me. So, yeah, he decided he was going to stand there and face off with this thing. And this thing's on 2 feet. Now, these here, they're not big and huge like Sasquatch, at least not in this area. They'll range probably up to about 7 feet in height,
Right.
which is still hell bigger than any of us. But yeah, he decided that he didn't want to play that game anymore. And this thing started walking towards him. He started backing up. And what's one of the rules you do with predatory animals? You don't turn your back to them and run, which is exactly what he did.
Very true.
Right. So he took off running, and it's kind of hilly back in this area was at. And he's kind of a big boy. I think he was like 5'7", probably about 250. So, he had a little bit of weight on him. And this thing was actually right behind him, literally breathing down his neck, grunting and growling and everything else. It was toying with him. Well, his dumb ass decides to stop, turn around, and take a swing with his hatchet or whatever and hit this thing. He said it let out a pretty high-pitched yelp, like a squeal or whatever the case was, and he turned around, and that was the last thing he remembered. And when he woke up, he was actually in the ditch on the side of Livingston Road, where this part of this park backed up to.
Wow.
And he was all bruised to shit and moving slow. And he had some pretty interesting bumps and bruises on his back, along with what appeared to be claw marks. It went from just above the shoulder blade on his right side and a downward diagonal direction down to just above his left kidney.
Wow.
And the claw marks or gouge marks or whatever you want to call them, there was 5 of them. You could tell it was almost like a hand that did it, but the claw marks were about 2 inches apart a piece. That's substantial.
Yes,
I mean, we are not going to do that. I mean, if we tried, maybe, I mean, some people's got bigger hands than other people, but
they say about men with big hands.
yeah, their gloves are big, right? So,
Yeah, where's your mind at?
yeah. Oh boy. But yeah, Boomer,
Diane,
that's where he ran
Acknowledge
across.
me.
Now, Boomer, that's where he ran across one. Now I can only take it as his word, but he was not really one to BS too much about this stuff. He would exaggerate a little bit, but you could tell
Right.
this wasn't somebody didn't do him. This wasn't him backing up against something or anything like that and scratching himself. It was definitely pronounced. Now, me, on the other hand, there's a place out in White Lake. It's a metro park. It's about, oh shit, what is it? I think that's probably 2,500 acres. It's called Indian Springs Metro Park. And that, not a lot of people go to it. I mean, as far as like on the nature trails, it gets kind of swampy in parts or whatever. You got to watch out for snakes in the wintertime. Or, I'm sorry, summertime. Wintertime of, I was with wife part 2 at that point. I'm going to say it was either 13 or 14. I just had picked up my concealed pistol license, so I was carrying at the time. But we were back there in the winter, and this is weird. I don't know what happened, but how to describe it. We're walking down one of the trails that's not normally taken, and we saw this large bird. It was like we don't have condors here, but it was larger than the bald eagle. But I don't know what it was. It could have been like a turkey buzzard or something like that. But we saw this thing flying down at a pretty good clip, and it landed in this tall grass. Now, this is probably 100 yards away from us. It wasn't too far. And once it landed, it must have stirred something up. And what we saw take off from right around that point was what appeared to be a very large black wolf. Now, do we have wolf in this area? I don't know. So I can't answer that. I know we got big coyotes, which are pretty cool to look at. But as far as wolf, I don't think so. But this is what this thing looked like, and it took off into the woods, and in the same direction in which we were heading. And I lost track of it in the woods. And a few minutes later, this is where it gets weird. It's like I started hearing tree knocks. And, everybody associates tree knocks with Bigfoot or whatever. I heard a crack. I'm like, that's somebody hit a tree. I mean, you could tell it was something. It wasn't a branch breaking or anything like that. And I'm like, I'm going to try this. So I grabbed a large stick and cracked a tree, and I got a response. And I did a couple more times, and then I got nothing. But I don't know what that was. But it was a fairly decent distance away. I would say less than 1/8 of a mile, though. So in the woods, that's still a decent distance, at least in that park. Right. And we took this less traveled trail. Her and I were the only foot tracks in the snow down this trail. And, we got into this one area, and there's what appeared to be, I would say, like a teepee made out of wood, like sticks or branches or whatever. I call it a hive for some reason, but like a den. I guess a den would be, Boomer. And it was weird again, because there's only a little bit of, I don't know if it was a coon that was out, and then there were some deer tracks or whatever that were along the trail as well. But when we got by this den or whatever it was, about 15 feet or 10 to 15 feet or so off of the trail, started what you could tell was bipedal footprints. They were large. going off towards this den. And the den maybe at tops 30 feet off of the trail. I'm going to go find it in the fall time. Just right now, I'm not a fan of rattlesnakes, so I just don't go back there. But there was something there, and I had this crazy feeling. The wife part two, she stopped. I kind of stopped, and I'm looking. I'm like, man, I got this weird feeling about something, because nobody's going to jump that distance in the snow. No human is going to jump that distance from the snow, in the snow, that distance off a trail. But there's no other set of footprints even on the trail. That was the crazy part. But what ended up happening, I'm sitting there staring at this thing for a couple minutes. I just had that weird feeling come over me. Then out of nowhere, it sounded like somebody took two large sticks and slammed them together and then drug them along each other. And kind of like that from the Warriors movie, you know, the Warriors come out to play type thing. It kept doing it. It kept slamming these two sticks together and dragging them apart.
Mm-hmm.
And you could hear it good enough to where the bark on each of these branches or whatever this thing had would snag and tear from each other. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I don't want to know what this is. And I backed away from it like that, had thumb brake ready, you know, off and ready to go. But I guess I would say I found it, if that was what that was, by mistake.
Right.
Not a fan of it. That kind of startled me a little bit. So hopefully, Boomer, that answers your question. That's as far as going now.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. It's like, due to my health now, I got that nasty communist virus back in 21, and my body's getting worse. So now it's, you know, it's difficult for me to walk, and I have problems in that respect from that. So getting out in the woods anymore is basically watching a video on YouTube. I mean, I could walk for a little bit, but I can't go humping through the woods where these things are at. Now, in the flat area, I'll go out to that park or whatever and kind of hobble around in the main area. But as far as the woods are concerned, no. They're quite hilly. They're not mountainous or anything, but they are quite hilly. You got to watch where you're walking, that type of stuff. So unless the good Lord heals me, you know, double quick yesterday, my days of getting out heavy into the woods or anything like that are pretty much over.
Believe me, I feel you on that part.
Right.
Hello, Mojo. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Acknowledge me.
And Mickey G, I hope you have a great night. Thank you for coming in. I take it you've had more than one encounter.
I've had a few. Like I said, let's see, we did the let's see what we do. We did the high school stuff. Now, getting back to that, now this is all in the same area, this Livingston Road, Milford Road area. It was January of '94. My buddy Dave and I, and again, where he lived is just across the road from where this stuff happened. So we went back into that part of that Dodge 10 area, and there was a nice little sledding hill that backed up against someone's property. And we're just doing some sledding, and for some reason I remember this number. If anybody's into numerology stuff, hit me up, because I don't know what this is, but it was 4:38 p.m. It's about the middle of January, and we were sledding. This is when I got close to my first dog man or whatever. And we're sledding. A couple kids come up and they're sledding. We're sitting at the top of the hill. We're just BSing. Important to remember this. Dave is on my right. All right. So we're looking at the hill, whatever, and we hear something crunch through the woods. And how I described it with text was, if anybody sees a video of or have witnessed this firsthand, you take a fox or a coyote or something like that in the snow time, they hear something buried in the snow rustling around, they kind of pounce and then jump and land on something. So it's just like a quick like that, real quick. this is what we heard. And it was a little bit of a distance away. And we just kind of looked and didn't see anything. Now with this area, I think they used it for lumber mill at some point in that area. I'm not too sure on the history of Highland, but so it's all since regrown or whatever. And so the ground is pretty well cleared out. I mean, you're going to get some thick brush here and there. Trees for the most part are all in line. I think for the most part it's pine tree of sorts. And we're sitting there, and you hear that? And we didn't see anything. So we just did a little bit of sledding. We come back, and we're sitting there again. And again, he's on my right. We heard it again, that same pouncing sound. I'm like, what is this, dude? We hear something. We're not seeing anything. And getting a little unnervy with it or whatever. And then it happened again. The third time, and this SOB was close. And it was one of those moments where your body froze.
Right.
And now Dave, he leaned past towards me. I was just I didn't want to look to my left at all. I just stayed right arrow focused on going down this hill, even though I was kind of stuck in my body was stuck. I was frozen. And Dave leaned towards or past me, and he looked to the left, and now he turned pale. His eyes welled up, and he took off down the hill. And he ran down the hill, grabbed his sled, and he was off and running back to Livingston Road. And I'm like, oh, shit. He just left me. And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to deal with whatever's right there. And I look over to my left, and I thought it was a deer first, but, just quick because of the color. And it was like that, like the dark brown, it was like a brownish grayish color like the deer get here in the wintertime. But its body was considerably lower. Than I realized this was not a deer. This thing was freaking massive. I mean, it was that dark brownish color, grayish color. It had a darker brown, almost like a lion's mane, but not as long. So it wasn't all crazy and puffy. It was almost like it was slicked back.
Right.
And it went from its head and into a V formation down its back. Now, from its front shoulders to its rear end was probably 4.5, 5 foot in length. Very barrel chested, slender rear end, like you hear. It had arms. The typical werewolf rear feet. That's how you want to put it. I don't recall a tail. I don't think it had one. The fur was short. It wasn't as short as the white one that was by the gray one. I'm sorry, by the Burning Barrel, but it was still short fur. It was short enough to when this thing moved, you saw muscle definition, and this thing was freaking ripped. The chest on this thing, none of us were going to be able to put our arms around it if we tried to hug it. It was that massive. It almost hit the ground. Now, this thing's shoulders were as easily as tall as I was sitting on that sled. Easily, if not a little more. And it was, even in that position, it was still a little bit crouched down, kind of like a cat would be in a stalker, like in a stalker mode. And I'm looking at this thing, and I saw part of its head, but I didn't see the muzzle. I didn't see the face.
Right.
And now this thing is about 10, 12 feet away from me. Yeah, I can see definition. This isn't anything. Hey, I saw this thing from a quarter mile away or whatever. No, this is right here, right now. It didn't make too much noise when it started moving, very light. Trying to remember. It started moving behind me. And what I did is I twisted my upper half of my body, and then as much as I could to watch this thing. And what it had done is it crouched up behind me and then faced towards me. At that point, it was in the clear. There was no brush between me and it at this point. And this thing crouched down a little bit, kind of like a cat was getting ready to pounce. Like I said earlier, how this thing would jump and pounce. I think that's what it was getting ready to do. Its muzzle was huge. If it had probably easily probably an 8-inch muzzle on it, maybe 7, 8-inch muzzle, very large round. I didn't see teeth. It didn't snarl or anything. There was no heavy breathing. Crazy thing again, I do not recall seeing breath on this coming out of its lungs. And its eyes were the crazy black color. It was like a shiny black. Everybody and their neighbor's dog is seeing Jaws. So when Quint was talking about had the lifeless eyes, doll's eyes or whatever, that's what this thing had. And when this thing turned to face me and it crouched down farther at that point, yeah, that was my cue to leave. And I left at that point. And I stayed out of the woods. Ooh, man, for years after that point. That was one of the only two, I would say, intimidating times that I've had seeing these things. And the other times I've seen them, it's like, yeah, they're there. But it's like I see it, it knows I see it, it sees me, whatever. And there's almost like a respect thing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
What I attribute that to is that there's like a spiritual respect, maybe. You know, I got good vibes out there. I'm not going to go hunt these things down. I don't want to, put some steel cord rounds through it or anything like that. Why would I? It's not attacking me. It's not attacking anyone I know. And it doesn't hurt my animals. It's not doing that. So I have a good vibe. Plus, with my background, I am Potawatomi Native, part Cherokee. Somehow, some way, I got a little smidge of Comanche. I think it's Comanche. That's the out west group. And then I got French, 3rd generation American French, and a tad of English. So the area where my native ancestors grew up is right exactly where we are still at. So it's the White Lake Highland area where this stuff happens. My family. Now you're talking earlier about, is it safe if you're black coming out in our area? That's fine. My family back in the early 1900s, and even through the 1920s and 30s, they actually had to hide from some folks in a neighboring area just a little north of us, because sometimes they would just grab one of them and make them dangle, if you know what I mean. And so, yeah, so they had to hide. But this is where this stuff occurs, is where my family native side is still at. So I if I step back and I look at it and I think about it, it's like, okay, how many generations gone back has any of my family members seen these things? Now, of course, I can't ask the great grandparents or the grandparents on that side. They've all gone home to the Lord. So I can't ask them about that. I can ask some of my older relatives. And boy, do I got some text messages from that when I asked that question. I won't get into it too much here because it's fairly lengthy and I'd have to kill my phone to read it to you. But yeah, it's I believe that throughout the generations, if there's respect given on both sides, there's a form of peace, or in some cases, maybe a truce, to where ain't nobody gonna go whacking nobody on either side. And I believe that, it's kind of the same thing I think Tex had said one time about how you get Bigfoot with different attitudes. It might be one of them things of, hey, your great grandfather shot my great grandfather in the arse back in the day. That's why we Bigfoot don't like you. I think that same type of behavior could be associated with dogmen as well. Now, are they all good? No, my experiences, have not, thank God, have not been violent. Of because you could tell because I'm here talking to you.
Right.
And I think it's just a respect thing. It's a spiritual thing that's definitely connected. I've been out in the woods or whatever before. I've been out there in the nighttime in the woods in that same area and not had any problems. I've seen them here and there and just no real issues. Now I've had some intimidating times as the one I told you, and then there was an issue in 2004 that I had an issue with, but I'm going to pause it right here. Do you have any questions before I keep going? You, Jen, anybody?
Keith,
Yes.
so what I wanted to ask you is, what I thought really was when you were talking about mutual respect, but I kind of had that feeling that when you didn't shoot that one through your scope, that do you think he maybe talked to the other ones? They're obviously in that area. They're obviously either a pack or a group or a family was like, oh, okay, like this guy didn't hurt us, so don't mess with him, kind of thing.
That's a good question.
I am absolutely glad that you brought that up. Thank you. And here's the thing is, so it's on the topic, but off the topic or whatever. Yeah, my brain cell, whatever.
Before
Okay. Sure.
I want to say hello to Big Ben, Nelisha. I forgot about Greg's Inferno and Everyday Treasures.
Acknowledge me.
And Irish Whiskey.
Acknowledge me.
Thank you so much for being here. My apologies.
Oh, nothing to apologize for. I mean, you didn't kick a puppy or anything, so you're good. Oh, and by the way, while we're at it, probably behind the scenes, you're not seeing too much. There is the wife and my mother-in-law are probably watching. My father-in-law are probably watching this show right now. So, hey guys, love you.
You know what? If they're watching, this is for you guys. If you guys are watching,
Acknowledge me.
you have been acknowledged. Now, I apologize.
Yes. Oh, you're good. Oh, gotta work with my brain cell here. Where were we? Where were we?
See, that's
talking about the
Like, do you think it was a pack or?
Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, same topic, different subject. The wife and I, we moved into where we're at right now in 2019, and we're still in Oakland County. The neighborhood that we're in, we have the largest lot. It's pretty well wooded. The back half of it, at least, is heavily wooded with some wetlands in it.
Look like
and
liquor store too.
Yeah, you know what? I really don't drink much. I might do a shot or two a month, but this is mainly for entertaining.
Yeah, I don't drink.
Yeah, I love entertaining, and you know, it's more for other people. In fact, I got a stash down here for Tex when we go to Missouri. So, yeah.
Funny you say that. I love being entertained.
Oh yeah. It's like I said, you know, people say, "Oh, Bigfoot here, whatever, Dogman by your house." I like they come in here, they're probably going to be crawling out because I know how to make some serious shit. I mean, I don't know if we could do this real quick, but we look over that way. You see that stuff in the center? That is what you call absinthe. That is 136 proof. So yes, I know how to make some pretty cool stuff. But anyway, we'll get back on this. When we moved here, there was a raccoon that kind of befriended us. Ours adventure. Yes, I am from Michigan, Oakland County, Michigan is where I am. I'm right about the center of the county right now. But anyway, this raccoon come out and kind of befriended us, and it got to the point she'd come up and knock on the window, and I'd go, "Hold on just a second," like that, and I'd go make her a sandwich, hand it to her, and she'd be off to good, and she would bring her kids around and everything like that. Or I'd be out on the porch cooking hot dogs or something. She'd come up, I'd make her one, give it to her, whatever. But, obviously wildlife, especially kind of where I'm at, they don't have that much of a life expectancy because the amount of cars that come through in the neighborhood and so on. But up until this time, even right now, as of yesterday, I believe it's her lineage still comes up to the porch and hangs out. I'll make her sandwiches. She brought her kids up last week. She got 3 beautiful little fluff balls, so I think it goes on one of those things, exactly what you were saying, Christina, with how they teach their younger ones, hey, this person's okay. You can show yourself to them. Hey, stay away from these people. They might remove you.
Right.
So, if a little raccoon can do it, why can't what I would consider a highly intelligent apex predator?
That's what I was going to
So,
say.
yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't see it. Yeah, Eddie, we'll talk after the show or whatever, and we'll swap emails. I'll actually send you pictures of this sweetie. She's pretty cute.
Yeah,
So,
then the next time that we have another platform, actually next weekend, I think we're gonna just have an open panel. And please come back because when we have that open panel, it's gonna be, of course, Christina's son, Boomer, maybe Abyss Paranormal will join us, and bring your pictures. Bring
yeah,
them.
I'll see. Now, I don't really have. I don't have Dogman pictures or anything like that.
Bring your mother-in-law's pictures. That'll work.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
I said
You can borrow my ex-wife's pictures if you like.
I'm gonna say I'd be careful there, Eddie. My mother-in-law shoots better than I do. So
I'm just playing, mother-in-law.
yeah, you're good. You're good.
I'll bring my pictures.
I give her a little bit of shit here and there. She carries her 380 and I carry my 45. So, I give her a little bit of shit, but I'm an FN guy. So
Thank you, Shaw Woman, for being here. I know you're tardy. That's okay. We're not in school yet, but if we were, you'd be in trouble.
adventures, roughly where are you at? In Waterford myself. So yeah, I don't care if people know where I live. Come over. I got shit to drink.
That's his way of saying, come on, Cletus. You'll walk over.
Come on.
Just remember, walk over, but you limp back.
Yeah.
All back.
Was it like Joe Walsh? It's hard to leave when you can't find the door.
Ain't that
Yep.
true?
But yeah, so getting back on this, more experiences. I stayed out of the woods after that point there. And now when I had started dating a girl in October of the same year, 94. And we're all friends with everybody, so everybody knows each other. And it was a weekend before Halloween of 94. Clear night, full moon, beautiful. It was me, my girl, and my buddy Dave. We're gonna go driving the back roads and stuff, BS and whatever we do. And we went down to the farther end of that Livingston Road. Now there's part of that park down there that people bring their horses or they'll train their bird dogs or stuff like that, this field. And Dave had this feeling, and this is after he got thumped by that enforcer. I don't know why his ass went back in the woods, but he's like, I got this feeling, man. I want to go check out. I forgot what the name of that area was. We'll just call it the bird run or whatever, dog run. And he went off to this. He parked up right up to the guardrail that would face this large open field. It's hundreds of acres. This particular field is. And off to the left, there is a decent sized swamp and trail that ran along it. It's probably about 50 feet or so away from the swamp itself. And they had tall brush tall grass on the left side. And he's walking down there, and man, he got probably 150 yards away. And we're sitting there watching. We can see him. Everything's freaking glowing out there anyway because of how bright the moon was. And we see something come up out of that swamp. And it was pretty much glowing. It was either a white or another light gray, but it was short and squatty. And I'm like, what is this? And he's walking, he stops, and it's just an instant stop he did. So he must have heard something or whatever. A couple seconds after he did that, this thing jumps out from that tall grass and lands directly behind him.
Oh,
I mean, and kind of like how I told Tex and everything, I think it was this, whatever this was, I would say it was a dog man, because what else is going to be out there that looks like this? I think it misjudged where Dave was at. So I think it meant to land ahead of him instead of behind him. And the reason why I say that is when it jumped and landed and stopped, Dave turned around and did that whole hunker down thing because it scared the hell out of him. Well, that dogman being on all fours did the exact same thing. It turned tail and ran back into the swamp. Now, my buddy, again, like I said, he's about 5'7", 250 or so. He did some serious Usain Bolt shit and come flying up that trail, hurdled that guardrail, and jumped back in the truck, and we took off. And at that time, it was his dad's truck that he had, but it was when a Dodge trucks went from that box style to the more semi-truck looking style. So everybody knows what I'm dealing with here. And he gets in it and he let that hammy scream, and that's what he did, because he got back out onto that dirt road on Livingston and headed back towards his house westbound.
okay.
And I could see that whatever this thing was, it decided it wanted to come up and say hi.
Oh,
And I don't know if it was in an aggressive way or whatever, but this thing, I watched it come down the trail. Now the trail, it was flat and it would dip down a little bit, and then it come up a steep embankment to where that guardrail was at. So it was almost like it was out of a freaking movie, because I saw it running, it disappeared. And then like a couple seconds later, this thing shot like a rocket up that hill and over that guardrail and cleared it by easily 15, 20 feet. And I'm like, Dave, you got to get moving, dude. And he was doing like 40, 50 miles an hour. And this thing caught us.
Wow.
It caught right up to us. This thing was moving. To give anybody an idea what it looked like. See, I hate using Hollywood to describe these things because, again, Hollywood, werewolf, you're a faker. But it had almost the same body style, but not the hair length of American Werewolf in London. That's what it acted like. And it followed us for probably a couple 100 feet. And then to this day, I know where it turned off, but it followed us for about a couple 100 feet and then disappeared back off into the woods.
Yeah.
And
I think
that was crazy. And it got close enough behind us. I mean, he's kicking up dirt and everything like that and dust and everything, but I could see it through the dust. So how far it was behind us, I'm not too sure, because, I'm trying to look up, beyond the bed of the truck or whatever, but it paced us. It had no problem pacing us. So how fast these things can go, I don't know. Oh, thanks there, R. It's a half an hour away. Cool.
It outpaced you.
I'm sorry?
It outpaced you almost.
Yeah, it caught us. It intercepted us and then just paced us from that point. So I don't know how fast these things can go. I don't know if this thing was pissed and mad and angry and cranky and everything. I don't know. But I don't know if it could have caught us. It could have tracked us, no problem. I mean, hell, this Dave lives down the street and across one intersection. I mean, you can't hide from something like that if, hell, when you live next to it.
So let me
So
ask, do you think that I'm just asking if you personally think Dogman may have been, if it's not an animal or supernatural, could have been a government subject?
I'm on the fence with that. You know, you listen to different accounts from people and how different dogmen act.
Right.
Um, uh,
Or it could
we're
just be
pretty,
a case of some lonely old man and the bestiality. Who knows?
yeah, you never know. I mean, that's what when I say it's possibly something. I call it a GMO, basically. You know,
Mm-hmm.
a governmental modified organism. I guess would be a way to put it. Now I think it was up here in Michigan, up in the Manistee. They had that Joe. I think Joe Barger or Barger was
Joe
his.
Parker, yes.
Yeah, that's where he put a couple rounds from a 45 long Colt into it or whatever from the side of his truck, which I don't know how in the hell the guy still had hearing after that, but I'm sorry, tractor trailer. So I don't know. And I have my views on this, and this has to actually do with eye shine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of the things I've seen, except again, with that one with the red eyes, I don't know what that was. But we're gonna do red eye shine. The ones around here that I've seen have had either that white, like that arc welder,
Mm-hmm.
or there's a blue color I've seen quite a few times on some stuff out here that I have no idea. I think some of them are dogmen, some I don't know what they are. But
So,
there's the blue. It's like if anybody looks it up, sky blue topaz,
mhm.
sky blue sapphire. You guys look up those gemstones. That is the exact color, the closest color I can compare it to. And then there's these ones with the black eyes. They're like glossy, but they don't shine. But my thing is, with the experience, then you have the yellow or amber eyes or whatever. But I look at this and I look at all these stories that I've started listening to from 23 till now. The red eyes, mean, nasty attitudes every time, at least every story that I've run across with or every show that I've watched, guys are assholes. So I think there's something to do with that red eye. Now, that being a governmental thing, well, look what I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, post World War One in 1924, the Russians had a scientist where he was actually mucking around with attempting human animal hybrids. Lavanov, I think his last name was. I'm not
Mhm.
sure. Anybody can look it up. I've read a ton of the stuff on it. Is it real? Is it not? Who knows? You know, believe everything on the internet, right?
Right.
But anyway, so I mean, 100+ years ago, yeah, right. We're going to the moon. You're high, right? So where are we at now? So, so with that being said, the red eyes to me are something that are either engineered, maybe, possibly demonic in nature,
Mhm.
because I've never heard anything remotely positive come from any of that stuff. Now you have the ones with the yellow eyes, amber eyes. They tend to screw with you. I mean, I'd say 9 times out of 10 out of all these stories that I've heard on different podcasts or whatever the case is, anytime that anybody's had the yellow or amber eyes, they like to screw with you,
Mhm.
scare you, intimidate you, make you really nervy, and they like to just mess with your psyche, I guess it'd be a way to do it. Now with the blue-eyed ones or the white-eyed ones I've seen around here, it's like, hey, how you doing? And they're just like, yeah, I see you, cool. And they just go about their business. They
Mhm.
might stand and stare at you for a minute and kind of look around a little bit. Um, so I think that has something to do with the attitudes. I don't know. I know I got off topic a little bit there. Sorry about that, Boomer. But
Well, you
I
good.
I think that has something to do with it. Do I know? No, I'm not going to go out and ask one if I find it. And as I was telling I was telling Brandy and Tex, if I could go out and see one every day, anytime, anytime that I wanted, I'd take a group of people out there and charge them $10,000 a person and say, hey, look, give me your money. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not like that. I hell, even if I could, I wouldn't. But still, it's just is what it is. And then it goes right back to that the attitude stuff, and then the lineage, the family lineage, I believe. Hopefully that makes sense. I get off topic sometimes.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Boomer wanted me to put your link in, but do you have a YouTube channel?
Nope. I don't exist. I don't have YouTube channel. I just watch everybody. I don't even have social media or anything. You know, ever since the 2020 stuff and think this way or you're a supremacist or a threat to the planet, I just kind of went with it. And after a handful of family members and friends, decided to hate on me for, me having, for some reason, common freaking sense. I just elected to stay away from all that. Now, will I talk to people? I have no problem talking to somebody on the phone or, through chat, or through chat on here. And that's another thing too, Eddie, that I offer to your people here. If anybody has any questions after the show, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll read them off and reply.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if anybody in here in the chat that has a question, please feel free to put your question in, and we'll try to get it answered for you. Michigan the man is in the house. How you doing there, sir?
Hey, Rob.
Boy,
I wanted to get Keith's take. I think I told Eddie about this story. Now I've never really ran into any cryptid per se, right? As a kid growing up, my dad and our most of the family are pretty much avid hunters and fishers and campers and stuff. And we've come across like tracks we couldn't identify, scat we couldn't identify, and stuff like that. But there's a short story I wanted to say that I wanted to tell you real quick to get your take on it, if Ed didn't mind.
Go ahead.
All right. So when I was still in the service and I was stationed at Fort Drum, my dad was taking me back to post from a weekend R&R. And just as we were entering the gates of the post, I wasn't really paying attention at first. And my dad alerted me to it, and was yelling at me, look at this. And as I looked up, all I saw was probably 3/4 of the back end of this thing, which resembled a wolf, but was probably 3 times the size of any wolf I've ever seen. And it was like a silverish gray, and that's pretty much all I saw of it, was like a silver streak going across 4 lanes and then into the woods. Now, my dad at the time had a Jeep that he had put a lift kit in and lifted about 6 inches. Now, you know what a CJ5 stands at normally, and he put a 6-inch lift kit in it. Now, when I looked up, I could see he was probably about 30 yards ahead of us, and I could see like a hunch of the back, and the tail, I swear, had been almost 3 feet long and really bushy. And that's the only like clear part of it I saw. The rest of it was just like a silver streak running across. Does that sound like anything you've encountered or that you may have known about? Because we do have gray wolves up here, but I've never seen anything that big.
Yeah, not that big. That'd be absolutely.
Yeah, this was in upstate New York, up near Watertown. I don't know if you're familiar with where Fort Drum is or whatever in the
No,
north
unfortunately.
areas. So, like, I mean, that's the first thing I've ever seen actually in my life that may resemble some sort of cryptid or not. Does that sound cryptid to you? Like,
May I, being of that size, man, being of that size, I would say it was definitely. Would it be a wolf? I don't think so. Even like a huge,
yeah, because the
and
best way I could describe
abundantly
it,
fed. Yeah, that's to me. That doesn't sound like
you
that's
ever
just a normal
seen
wolf.
you ever seen the show Game of Thrones?
Yep,
The dire wolves they had for pets there. That's the best
yep.
way I can describe it.
Yeah, that's freaking
Like
huge.
that size. Not as I mean, not quite as big as it is the so-called werewolves in Twilight, but
Right.
about the size of those dire wolves.
Yeah, it's hard to tell when you're looking at, when you're looking at the rear end. I
Right.
mean, it with some of the things that I've seen here where I've seen them fully, the thing that gives them away, obviously their size, they're pretty large, but the arms, they don't have front and back legs. They got arms, and you can see what you've heard probably 800 million times is they have the raccoon hands,
Right.
the dexterous hands with the opposable thumb. You can see that.
Yeah, and I didn't
But
see any of that because, the hood of the Jeep was in the way.
right. Yeah, with something that big, I wouldn't go out and ask questions. Now, I had a buddy that worked for me back in the 90s, and man, I can't remember where he was stationed. I think it was he was either Fort Polk or Fort Leonard Wood. I don't remember. It's one of those two. I think it's Fort Polk. But he was MP down there, and he was doing some doing his patrol in the back 40, and he saw a set of glowing eyes that were taller than him, and he had a German Shepherd with him. And he said, I forgot how far it was, he said, because this is back in the 90s when we were talking about this, like 94, 95. But I remember he said his glowing eyes that were taller than him, his German Shepherd actually pissed himself and they took off. So what's out there? I don't know. It's kind of weird, though, that I wouldn't say it's weird, but it seems like there tends to be quite a bit of sightings throughout the United States around military bases. What is that? I mean, you want to go conspiracy theory, and I don't mean you personally, Boomer, but if somebody you want to go conspiracy theory and say they're a trained asset or whatever.
Right.
Who knows, man? It's just
there's conspiracies about the government doing testings on, like you were saying earlier, doing like DNA splicing and stuff, trying to make the super the super trooper
right
thing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's all conspiracy, guys.
Well, hell, if Russians could mess around with that stuff in 1924, why can't we in 2025? And we are far superior technologically to probably anything that we're allowed to know on the planet. So who knows? I don't want to mess with it. Oh, and there's an Octavian Charlie. Yeah, have I ever been injured? No, I've been intimidated a couple times. I mean, because like that one that got close to me there in '94 on that hill sledding. Yeah, I guess the feeling of that is, what something feels like before it gets turned into a bowel movement. Does that make sense?
I think I probably would have.
I've had moments like that.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you ever met or talked with other people that have also seen a dog man?
Me, yeah. Like I said, the one buddy Dave has seen it. The wife has seen it.
How about
she saw.
Outside of that? I mean, like, let's say you went to another channel and somebody there was talking about their experience with the dog man. Have you met any other people that's also had encounters like that?
No, not yet. I'm looking forward to meeting Tex. I know he had a situation when he was younger. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him on. And I think it was Gary Spike Sr. may have had not necessarily an aggressive encounter with him, but as far as person, face to face, no, I have not. I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting up with BMR here eventually and talking about this stuff. Now, he used to live out in that Highland area. He lived basically down the street from where I used to.
I love
So,
I love listening to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. I love listening to
oh
him.
yeah. Yeah, and if any of you guys on here in chat have not subscribed to them, guys, make sure you do. They got some cool stuff, and it's like we're all one big happy family here. It's an absolute blessing with everybody.
Michigander Man Adventures says, he asks, we have dogmen in Michigan?
They are alive. They are alive, well, and possibly plenty.
I want to
it's like I said-
respond just real quick to something Alicia said. If that's true, because I haven't yet heard of it, what you're saying is the first I've heard of it. So if that's true, I guess I don't have to remain so tight-lipped about my experiences.
No, bring them on.
I mean,
Love
if
to hear
they're
it.
out there like telling all now, I guess I don't have to shut up as much as I thought I did. I still fear like somebody catching wind of me flapping gums, and next thing you know, there's 50 black SUVs out front of my apartment. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So if they're,
yeah.
they say loose lips sink ships, and I, I believe in that. So I don't get too loose lip with, my 3.5 years experience in military. So
I'm sorry, Rob.
I've heard stories.
Wow.
Can
Anyway,
Eddie, can I tell Keith what I saw?
Yeah, that's why I said if anybody got questions, please, while I got Keith here, feel free to ask.
So Keith, I moved to Long Island from New York City. So in the city you don't see as much, I guess. So I had just moved out to Long Island. I was still fixing my little area. And so I didn't have my porch fully done. It wasn't enclosed yet. And I had heard this weird noise when I got up to get some water in the middle of the night. I thought it was some kind of mating call or something. And I'm like, what animal is this? I never heard it. My son's father was staying over the next week to help me put a shed together and stuff. At 3 a.m, I heard the same weird mating call. So I wake him up. I go, do you hear this? He's like, oh, yeah, sounds like an African banshee. I go, we're not in Africa. Come see what it is. He wouldn't go. So I went to the sliding doors and I opened the curtains and I'm looking out into this patio that's opened now because we didn't close it yet. And this creature, it was on all fours. If it would have stood up, it would have at least been 7 foot tall. That's how long it was. It had weird hind legs, like almost that looked like an ostrich, those weird, like they weren't like regular kind of legs.
They almost hawked like a dog, maybe.
Maybe. And he had a tail like a lynx, black fur. He was all black. When he turned and looked at me and I saw his face, I was like, what the hell are you? He had a humongous pig snout, with like ears of a wolf. So his face was kind of like, because the ears and the eyes would kind of be like a wolf, but this big, humongous pig snout, I just was like, what are you? And like I said, long. If he would have stood up, he would have been 7 foot tall. And so he was long, and his body wasn't stumpy. Like he was thin but muscular, I say it was a he, but I don't know what it was. And as soon as we made eye contact, I said, "Oh my God, it's gonna come right through the through the glass. It's gonna kill me." I didn't know what it was, and it left. And then I was like, "What the hell?" And dumbass me opened the screen to look. It was gone. So I had
Oof.
heard it, like I said, a few times before that. But once we made eye contact, I never heard or saw it again.
I would say that you won. Man, yeah, forget that nonsense.
Before
I mean,
before you go any further, I wanted to say hello, Amanda's Crazy Life channel. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the family.
Acknowledge me.
And you have been acknowledged. Now go right on ahead.
Christina,
sorry.
you good or?
Oh no,
Well,
you,
yeah. So what do you think of that creature?
That is freaking insane if it's got a swine snout. That's crazy. Now, I have seen something before that I have not discussed yet. I don't know if we're doing it today or another day or whatever, but I had saw one time, and it was in the late 90s, that again, it's all in this area. It's all this Milford Road, Livingston Road area. If anybody's interested, it's Highland Recreation Area. There's bits and pieces of it over there. It's almost, I think it's like 5,900 acres, and it's not huge, but for this area, it's pretty good. It's thick enough. If you walk 10 feet off of a trail in certain places, you will get lost. But we're driving down this side street again at night, again, just BSing, doing our talking stuff. And this was a summer, I think it was 98 or 99, I don't remember. It was summertime, and me and my one buddy, we just cruising down this road, and off to the side, it's across the street from that sliding hill, crazy enough, there's the old mill there or whatever, and there's this large bushy tree. I mean, it wasn't like an oak tree or anything like that. It probably only stood about 15 feet or so, large bushy. And there were a ton of lightning bugs over this thing. And it was cool looking. I mean, it really was. But out of this, I noticed that there were two very large lightning bugs that were not blinking and not moving, as to the rest of them were. Like, dude, what is that? And I said, give me my spotlight. I had a 2 million candle power spotlight. We're probably 80 feet away from this thing. And man, I'm sitting there looking at it. I was like, this thing ain't moving. And I hit it with that spotlight and I lit it up. And this thing had like a lightish brown, almost like a dirty blonde hair color. It had the longer hair, had human type hands, you could see the claws on it. And how I describe it, it was human in shape. His eyes obviously were that glowing or reflective or whatever, because that's what I noticed them with originally. But it brought its hand up to its face, kind of like this, because I'm hitting it with 2 million candle power, and it brought its hand close enough to its face that if it had a large snout, say like the one at the Burning Barrel or the one we were sledding, it would have smushed it. So with that being said, I think that one had a shorter snout. If I now to have a pig snout or anything, that I don't know, because its hand was covering most of its face. And to give people an idea of what it looked like, Eddie, you're into music. Most people probably remember this. Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon. Watch the video. That's what this thing looked like. I mean, even the hair color was similar. The length was similar. And this thing probably stood 7 feet tall. At that time, my buddy and I, we backed out onto the main road, which is M59. We backed off from that side street and took off. We didn't even bother to press that one any further. Excuse me. So shorter snout, yeah. Pig snout style, I couldn't tell you. But that's crazy, seeing something with a pig snout. But then again, what's that? There's an island. I know they did some bad juju stuff there off of New York somewhere. I can't remember the name of the island. They were just talking about that. I think Tex and them guys are talking about that island where they did the crazy biological experiments or something, and it got shut down. I don't remember the name of it. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I know
Yeah,
what you're talking
Oh,
mostly
that's another one I'm not allowed to talk about.
I thought mostly that was on people they did those experiments. But yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
who knows?
people into animals, I don't know. Um, yeah, like the only person who ever kind of said to me, "Oh, you know, I think I know what that is," was a paranormal person who was like, "It's some kind of rape because there's a lot of different kinds and you should look into them." And I'm like, well, if that was the case, I'm not gonna look into them because I don't want them coming back around. I
Yeah,
don't
I've
live
heard
in Long
about the
Island anymore, but I don't want them to
yeah,
find me.
yeah, I've heard about the rakes and the crawlers and stuff like that. That's something I've never run across on, or yeah, I've nothing I've ever run across, and something I would probably be, on site would probably be flinging some serious copper coated something. So, uh, yeah, I wouldn't even muck around with any of them. I've heard nothing but negative from them. So, yeah, I
about.
don't know. And
And
you're right there, Boomer. This the things you can't talk about. The guy used to work for me at my last job a couple of years ago. His dad was out in one of those places out in Nevada, and I asked him about some UAP stuff, and it was, you people joke around. Oh, if I tell you I have to, whatever. He's like, I'll tell
Yeah.
you, then I'll kill you. He's like, I'll tell you, then I'll kill you. And it's like, nope, I'm good. And I wouldn't put it past him. He was a pretty badass guy. I mean, he'd tie me in a knot in a heartbeat. So I'm good. I'm good.
John Woman put down Plum Island.
Oh, was it? That sounds familiar. Yeah, I don't remember.
She also
That's
said
one.
she may have escaped
I know nothing.
That's
Mm.
Yeah, or
crazy.
nothing washing up on shore either that shouldn't be, I'm sure. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff we're not told. We don't get to know. But then again, I mean, who could really handle it?
Right. And,
I
and that's something
mean,
I've always thought myself personally, that a lot of
right,
these you see may be experiments that went wrong.
right. Or, there's something too is, I've ran things through my head with being like Bigfoot or Dogman or anything like that, almost from a sales standpoint, which is kind of weird. Um, People believe or don't believe in Bigfoot, and sure as shit, probably don't believe too much in Dogman or whatever. But
Right.
if you rebranded it, on the other hand, now take it to the Bigfoot. We'll just, I'm not in either camp of that woo or ape or anything like that. I'm just me with my own viewpoint or 12. So, if you rebranded it as something that people can actually associate with, possibly they accept that more. And it's really not too crazy out of the realm of possibility, even just being an organic critter or whatever. You take Dogman on the other hand. Somebody says werewolf, you're an idiot. You're crazy. You're lying. We all get that. Now, if you sat back and just and hear me out a little bit on this, is if you kind of went back and rebranded it or resold it and say, okay, us as scientists, we have discovered a large new species or breed or whatever of wolf in the continental United States.
Mhm.
It hangs out in remote areas, but the evolutionary changes are quite astounding. Where we find these wolf at, and I'm not saying dogman or werewolf, where we find these wolf at, this species of wolf are largely in mountainous regions or regions that have a lot of cliff faces or anything like that, a lot of steep terrain. What we believe is that over time, in order to survive, these wolves, which we'll call, I don't know, I'm going to think of something here real quick, the North American recluse great wolf. That's what I'll call it. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, just to say that, say we found this recluse wolf, mountain wolf, and over time, this wolf has adapted to the steep environments and has replaced their front legs with more ambidextrous front legs or arms, and they have evolved to have what's that word am I looking for? Dexterous hands with opposable thumbs. They have the ability, and the reason why that is because in their situation where they come from, they had to adapt to climbing trees, climbing steep rock faces. You see what I'm saying? See where I'm getting here? Is that if you make it to where it's some type of evolutionary thing as opposed to a Hollywood thing or a governmental thing or just coming out and stating that it's a werewolf or a dog, man, if you come out and actually explain it to people as to why this thing looks like this and get rid of that title that it has, I think a lot of people would be more in tune to it, especially if they found a picture or some type of video footage of it or something like that and actually put it out into the public. However, they're not going to do that. And I don't think they'll ever really do that with Bigfoot as well. And, you know, it's weird that you see a lot of no-fly areas for drones in damn near every state park or federal park. You got to be careful or have special licensing to do it. And it's only in certain areas. Why? And then if you come out and say this such and such animal or whatever you want to call it is alive and this is where it's at, you know damn well you're going to have every redneck out there going, I'm going to kill me one of these and put it on the wall. Yeah, right. You're going to go out there in a ghillie suit, stalking around, and then the other guy down the road is going, I'm going to pop one of these and put it on the wall. Well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a whole bunch of hell. I had a friend of mine that was shot during small game season and he was wearing orange. Could you imagine what somebody in a ghillie suit what would happen to them if they're in a ghillie suit and somebody got excited when they crossed their crosshairs? You'd have a whole bunch of death on your hands and lawsuits and everything else. And I don't think anybody would really want that. I think that's why, now this is my opinion only, but that's where I think where you won't see a lot of that is because you'd get a lot of people hurt real quick because, you know, people get dumb when they get out in the woods and have firearms in their hands.
Right.
I mean, you hear that buck fever thing. If you get an adrenaline rush off of just seeing an everyday animal, hell, I got deer in my backyard. I mean, could you imagine what would happen if you saw something that looked like that from a distance walking on 2 feet? Yeah. You're gonna put rounds downrange, and somebody's gonna get hurt. So I think that's one of the reasons too as to why they don't do it. Are they possibly a protected species? Mm-hmm. Possibly, I don't know. And Boomer, you're military. I've heard a lot of things where there are some field manuals that, especially out west, possibly even possibly Arctic training, where Bigfoot were in the field manuals mentioned. Is that true? Have you heard anything like that?
Well, for me, that'd be all hearsay because, like, we didn't have those specific manuals. But yeah, I mean, most of the Arctic training that other posts would do, they would do it on Fort Drum, and there would be, you know, like water cooler talk about it, things like that. From others that would come to our post to do their, you know, extreme cold weather training.
Fort Drum, I think that's where my stepbrother was at. Okay. Huh.
Yeah. Because the West Coast usually comes over here to do their cold weather training, and we would usually go to a place like Arkansas or whatever for the jungle training, warm weather training, stuff like that, because of the different uh terrains and stuff that. But yeah, everywhere we went, like there's everybody had a story about, standard operation procedures, SOPs, as to like what they would do if they encountered something and stuff like that. But I don't recall seeing an actual manual specifying any kind of like um areas to avoid or where a certain cryptid would be located or anything like that. I have heard stories about it, through the grapevine.
Mhm.
We call that oh, what's the term for it? I can't remember the term for it, but it's basically say like the office term for it would be like water cooler talk.
Yeah, scuttlebutt and all that good stuff.
Yeah, scuttlebutt. There you go.
There you go.
Scuttlebutt.
I thought
We don't put a lot of stock in scuttlebutt, but there know, to every lie, there's a term. To every lie, there's a bit of truth. You know what I'm saying? So if it's something that somebody's pretty adamant about and talking about, like maybe they are embellishing a little bit, but there's got to be some level of truth to it, or else why would it even be said? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
oh, I thought it
unless
was
somebody's got a very good imagination.
Right.
I want to say hello to Lisa J. She is new here in the chat. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Hey, Lisa.
Acknowledge me.
Yeah, see, I'm not seeing a lot of the people in the chat for some reason.
Hi,
Like
Tig.
AL, I wasn't seeing her. I don't see the Lisa. I don't see. There's a few people I've not seen in chat for some reason. I've backed out and come in several times. So if anybody's saying hi to me and I'm not saying hi back, it's because I don't see your comments.
They
They're not
probably say
showing
the
up.
same thing
Why?
you say. Well, that's because we don't see you.
Yeah.
You
Eddie, I thought it was
don't
really,
want to see me.
I saw that Texas, there was a post for like in the beginning of like hunting season for the Texas park rangers put out a notice that said, if you see a Bigfoot, don't feed it, don't run and yell, and just stay calm, document it, take a picture, and come to the ranger station and tell us what your encounter was.
That's very
But don't go to it. Like they had this whole list of what to do and what not to do. It was kind of funny, but they just put it out there like, yeah, we don't care. We're telling you, don't do this. So
that,
I thought that was interesting because I never seen an actual like government, something run by a government
right. Because see,
do that.
that's why, I tell people all the time, just because some people have never seen them doesn't mean they're not out there. Whether it's
Right.
Right.
whether it's Dogman or any kind of cryptid, too many people have seen them. Even Lisa J, she said that she's seen one. As a matter of fact, where's her comment at? She said, from my old job here in Tennessee, a bud of mine told me Bigfoot does exist. I mean, it just got to have an open mind. And a lot of people don't have an open mind. There's people that don't believe in the paranormal, but they believe in Bigfoot. There's people that believe in Bigfoot or Dogman, but don't believe in the paranormal. And the same with UFOs and aliens and all this. There's got to be some truth and validity to it.
There's people
Oh,
that
yeah.
believe in the Bible but don't believe in the paranormal.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
That's
the
not a
wife's
contradiction.
the wife has one of her friends and her husband. It knocked me a little bit about the Dogman stuff. That's fine. Whatever. You know, they kind of laugh. I don't believe you. That's just, man, 3 weeks ago, not Dogman, but they actually had a shadow figure attack them in their house. Ha!
Uh,
And I'm like, yeah, you don't believe me about Dogman, but you got somebody coming at you in your house. So, yeah,
that
I kind of
happened to
giggled
me.
a little bit. Uh,
And Kelly,
I was accosted by a shadow figure one night.
how you doing, Kelly? I seen you out here.
Acknowledge me.
Anybody has any more questions for Keith? I am so glad I got you up here, Keith.
yeah, we're going to have to probably do another part two. We're going hell. We're almost 2.5 hours on this
Yeah.
already, I think. But we can do another part because, man, I haven't really gotten into 2004 yet. 2004 was freaking nuts from July to December was crazy. And then I think after that, that was 2004. That was crazy. And then it stopped until I think it was at 2013 or 2014. I didn't see anything until that time. That's why I was talking about the thing that was in that little the little den or whatever that we discussed earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so it jumps quite a bit. Abyss, I don't know if they shapeshift or not. I mean, I think that is right up there with, is this thing flesh and blood? Is this thing paranormal, or is this something in between? I do have some pretty trippy stories about that. That's into that 2004 ballpark. Yeah, I'll bring that one up real quick. This is one of the stories I had in 2004. It was Saturday. I got off of work. It was an afternoon. So it's about it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was in July. I went down into where that park is at, and I'll get into the sacrifice house at another show. I went down into where this ball field was at, and I was apart from wife part one at that point. So I had all my belongings in my car, and I went out there just to hang out in that park or whatever. And I was pretty much the only one there. I drove down to where this ball diamond is at. Now they got yurts and stuff like that for camping, which is pretty cool. But back then they had an old baseball diamond or whatever. And I drove down there, and right in the middle of the ball diamond, there was a DNR officer's truck. Doors open. The truck was running. DNR officer was nowhere to be seen. I yelled, I did a, hey, hello, anyone, that type of stuff or whatever. Nothing. And I started getting that weird, freaky feeling like some bad juju was going to happen. Well, me being me, I didn't carry a pistol at that time, but I did have a 91, an M44 Mosin Nagant, old Russian rifle, carbine rifle in my back, in my trunk. I pulled that out in the middle of a park, put one in the chamber and 5 rounds in the fixed mag, and was ready to go. When I did that, what happened is I got surrounded by stuff. I don't know what it was, but I could hear it from all angles. There are more of them than there were ammunition that I had. And once in a while, what I would catch what appeared to be the large wolf or whatever. Everything was on all fours, and I could hear it in bits and pieces. It would stomp. You'd hear it through the woods, and they would take off running. So you hear that sound, but as it would pick up speed, it would almost go into like a trot to a full bore sprint, kind of like a cheetah would. And at that point, the sound it made disappeared completely. And the crazy thing is as it picked up speed, it disappeared. A couple of them. I was like, holy shit. Like that. I mean, what am I going to do? And I don't know if it went into another dimension. Was this thing a paranormal entity? I do believe that possibly Bigfoot alike, as well as they have something in their fur that allows them to almost camouflage themselves, kind of like how an octopus would. where they
Right.
could change. Right. So I think they have something possibly of that, if that is a flesh and blood creature solely. So I don't know. It was pretty trippy at that point, but I kept getting surrounded. And the only place I wasn't surrounded was the one road that was going to and from that place. That was it. At that point, I'm like, oh, hell no. I pulled that ammo out of the thing, threw it in the bag that I had, put my M44 back in the case, and left. For everybody that's listening, if you're interested into where I am talking in regards to this, and a situation that I had, or one of the situations that I had in this area, is if anybody goes on YouTube after the show or whatever, people know about the remake of Red Dawn. It came out in 2012. And during one of the scenes, the guys were, the main characters, they are all huddled down at the cabin. And the bad guys come up, and they had the two dads that were captured or whatever. That's the cabin scene. So you can say cabin scene, Red Dawn 2012 remake, whatever. That part of that movie is exactly where them dogmen that I've seen, that's where a lot of this has occurred. It's all in that area. And where them guys were sitting on the down log or whatever, when they're watching the bad guys come up or whatever the case is, if you went from that log, and if they're laying there, and if you go on, it would be down to their lower right, probably your 5 o'clock low, 100 yards is where that ball diamond is at. So this again should be able to give people here an actual visual of where my encounters came from, for the most part. You know, I've had them in other places here and there. Indian Springs Metro Park, Kensington Metro Park, one occasion there. The Indian Springs one, that was one I was telling you about, the little thing that the thing was clanking the branches together. So yeah, it's
When you said the branches, when we were homeless at one time, we lived in a campground, and at night we would hear, like knocks on the wood,
yeah,
and we just left it off as like maybe it's animals.
right.
We literally lived on a campground though,
In a tent.
in a tent. So
Yeah. So if you're hearing that stuff, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody on here, people, like I said, look it up.
yes.
Yeah.
We were homeless by choice. We didn't have to be. We wanted to be. Because what we did was we sold a lot of our stuff to get down to San Antonio. Because we was living up in Ohio then. And
Okay.
Ohio got some crazy stuff. I mean, when you go
Oh yeah.
it's just crazy.
I went to the wife and I a couple years ago went down there to Hocking Hill, and just holy cow, the vibes I was getting. Daytime, everybody around, and there was something watching me. I could feel it, and it wasn't human. I don't know what it was, and then lo and behold, I end up hearing different stories about that place.
Yes. Yes. So, hey, anybody got any more questions for Keith? Feel free to ask.
Yeah, and I'll
Because
come back on. So
part 2.
Christina, you
Easy.
muted.
Oh, I didn't have any more questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess that's all for tonight. Fallen Angel. Now you come in.
Right.
You come in at the last minute. You're like a train from Union Pacific. It's
that's all right.
world, and
2 hours later.
hey, but Fallen, we love you anyway. We love you regardless. Keith,
for Fallen Angel,
Yeah.
if you watched the re-show here or whatever, it's like I told everybody earlier, if you have any questions, we're definitely going to do a part 2. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer anybody's questions on there.
Yeah,
I mean, I was all over the place a little bit tonight, but
that's a good
we're gonna
idea.
get in the next show. We're gonna get into some creepy stuff.
Week after
So
next, part 2.
no problem. We'll talk after the show here.
Okay, because next week we're gonna have an open panel. So I know Boomer will be back. I know Christina will be back. I
Yeah,
believe-
Christina and Boomer, pleasure to meet you.
and I believe
You know,
Paranormal will be
Pleasure
here.
to meet you too, Keith.
I believe Abyss will be here also, Abyss Paranormal, and Octavian will be joining us for the first time on the panel next weekend.
Well, second time because he was on singing, remember?
Oh yeah, well this is his second time, so it'll be an open panel next weekend. Yeah, I want to keep in touch with you, Keith.
No problem. We'll swap some information here after the show.
Yeah, and also if your wife want to join next week, she can join, or week after next, she can join us too. I mean, we're just about family here.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, she's ran across some stuff. Man, yeah.
I'd love to
So
hear her
hey,
story.
Face.
I would love to.
Oh, I was just gonna ask Keith real quick, like other than text, which everybody seems to go to, what other channels do you like frequent? As far as watching them and stuff.
sure, I'm from Michigan here or whatever, so I'm with the home team with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Love the guy. He's one that really got me. Yeah, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Love the guy. He's the one that got me turned on to all of you, actually. So big shout out to him if he's stalking or doing a little nighty night with his whoopee or whatever. I was gonna give him some shit. Blondes and Booze podcast. They're phenomenal. Everybody's knowledgeable here. Monica Rollins.
I'm gonna eventually get them on the panel.
Yeah, make sure you get
Yeah, that'd be cool.
if you can, Monica Rollins. I think it's
I already did.
Paranormal World. Did you? Man, she's awesome. She's all into that, like
Go
the
down my
historical
live stream.
things and
Yep, go down our live streams and you'll see that Monica was on.
okay, yeah, she's fantastic. Paranormal Paul is good. He's cool, laid back. Paranormal Portal. I think it's Brent Thomas.
Another person. I
No,
wanna-
Brent, yeah, he's fantastic. And there's a younger guy that I started watching a little bit earlier last year. His name is Mr. Harley Owens. He is big. I think it's Bigfoot Research and Data or Bigfoot Data and Research. I don't remember. He's out of Eastern Tennessee. Harley Owens,
Okay.
fantastic guy, young guy, go-getter. He's full of energy. He's out in the field. He's got some killer pictures, good videos, everything like that. Absolutely love the guy. Haven't met him yet. Looking forward to meeting him and everybody there in September. He's fantastic. If Truth or Tinfoil, he's good. That's Randy. It's usually Randy and Brandy from Blondes and Booze. He's great. Donnie Cho says stuff. Oh boy, he is definitely not PG. He's crazy. I love the guy. Can't wait to meet him. He's
great.
What's that?
Donnie and Boomer would get along great because
Oh my Lord, there's no punches pulled with that man, and the stuff he comes up with, man, just for shits and giggles. The one night, man, I just had this random thought in my head. They were on a show, and I said, for some reason, I want to see a dog man in a unicorn outfit, and all of a sudden, you see a grin on his face. BMR Michigan Rob, he's like, oh Jesus, he tilts his head down, and all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, here comes a dog man in one of those unicorn outfits that looked like it belonged off of the Christmas Story. It was like one of those type of pajamas. It was crazy looking, but yeah, good group of people. Donnie has some crazy subjects that he does. I love the whole crew, and if any of the guys I missed or whatever, my apologies. It's late for me, but
I wasn't expecting that much. Wow.
Oh yeah, good group of people. They're not judgmental.
These kids are
Yep, sign up for them, subscribe to their channels or whatever. Give them that love. There's no bullshit with those guys. They like to have fun and joke around a little bit, and there's no ego, which I've seen quite a bit. I mean, I've only been
that's where we differ. People accuse me
it-
of having an ego big enough that doesn't fit through a doorway. So
yeah, so yeah, if you're real, they don't mind. But you get some of them people that are,
You know what? The
you
people that you named, we're subscribed to already.
yes, Eddie, be sure
So,
and put them
do
in
you
your
have
links or
your
whatever.
subscribers public, Eddie, on your channel? Like we go to the home channel. Do you have your subscribers public where people can look at them? And all right, I'll check that out and
Yeah, I got
see if I can get them to there.
almost 4,000 subscribed people we're subscribed to.
Yeah, Boomer and Christina too is one thing that's really cool. Not only is this a phenomenal group of people, and Eddie, thank you for putting that prayer out first thing during your show. That was great. Thank you for doing that for those people. But also too, Boomer and Christina that you'll watch here, a lot of the same names are in the chat, and there's no bullshit with them. There's not. You see Jason Finch on there, the Fincher from Washington.
I'm familiar with Jason.
Yeah, fantastic guy. Mickey G, all these people. Amy Creel. I mean, just so many people we're all in one group basically, and it's just a good group of people. No egos, no attitudes. It's it can get serious at points, but there's a lot of good stories to tell. Stories. I don't mean fake. I just mean a lot of good words spoken from these people, and there's no BS with them. It's really laid back. I think you'll enjoy any of those, and I'm sure Eddie will. Yeah, I'm sure Eddie will hit the links up.
As a matter of fact, Lisa wanted to know, how did I become a mod? Well, Lisa, it's because we think you're a nice person.
We always mod
So
everyone.
we mod everyone.
So how come Tony Vlogs Adventure isn't a mod?
Yeah, that is my son Tony. I want y'all to know he is autistic. Okay, so there might be times he'll ask crazy questions that has nothing to do.
Good to see you, Tony, by the way. I think that's the first time I've actually seen him in your chat.
It's not technically.
Nice.
Technically,
chat.
Tony is not supposed to be in the chat. Ain't that right, Tony?
Oh, Tony outed himself, huh?
So right about now,
Nice.
he should have the tablet off.
Nobody saw nothing. Forget about
I'm
it.
sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry I threw you under the bus, Tony. They probably would have missed it if I hadn't said nothing.
And Boomer, another one too. I don't know if I said them or not. I'm going to give him grief anyway. Is Tex from Texas Front Porch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm already there with Tex. Yeah.
I absolutely love that guy. Him and I go back and forth, because I'm one of his Yankees.
Right.
And he's from Texas, but I guess not everybody can be perfect Tex.
Right.
But it's love that guy. Good group of people.
We are gonna make it a point to visit Tex. We love Tex that much.
Oh yeah, we love Tex.
We love Tex. Tex, it's hard to really put into words. That man has went out of his way for us.
Yep.
I'm a big bear.
And
he is.
It's just hard.
He's a big teddy bear.
Eddie, did you by any chance have Selena on from Southern Belle Bigfoot?
I sure did.
We love Selena.
Okay, I must have missed it. Yeah, I gotta push her too. I love that lady. She's awesome.
Yep.
Her and how she takes care of Tommy and all that. So
if you go through all the live streams, you'll see all the people that I've had up here. All of them, even some big name YouTubers. I've had them up here. So, and that's why I leave them up. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chat in here.
Yeah, they've even had me up before.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. Yeah,
more than one. Believe me. Lisa said, I've been told I'm a very nice person. This is such a huge privilege. Yes, you are. We can tell.
And if
that
you
had
have a
nice
channel with any, you
And
know,
if any of you have a channel, I want you to do me a favor and put your links in now. Because this way, this is how we give that love back. So we can get people to come by to see you.
I actually put a link in, guys, in the chat for this Sunday story. So
Uh-huh.
every Sunday I'm up to part like 17. Anyone who tells me their paranormal experience, and this is something that really happened to them, I tell their story on a Sinister Sunday. So that link is this week's latest, and it's a crazy story, and not too long, but a crazy experience from a subscriber of ours. So
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus, you can also go by and check out Christina's son. Check out her when she does the tarot readings. For us, it's been
I
on
love
point.
her card readings.
It has
They're
been
amazing.
on point.
See what you did, Christina? Now you got Eddie pronouncing it wrong.
What did I
Tarot. It's
It's-
tarot.
tarot without the T,
I
but
take
you
See,
know,
see, her true New York is rubbing off on everybody.
it's tarot, but see, I got to bring that ebonics or urbonics,
Her bodies.
like carrots. I call them carrots,
Sure.
but I call it carrots. Could be calling it Tourette's, but
Oh, it's kind of like
Hey, now.
like how it's kind of like how I call tomatoes the Antichrist. You know.
can you imagine if I had Tourette's syndrome and I'm interviewing Keith? I go, "Hey, Keith, how you doing today, motherfucker? I hope you're having
Wow.
a day."
Well, I shouldn't even mention to Eddie that I have Tourette's.
This is my
but
fucking
you
wife.
don't have that one, right, Boomer?
But I grew out of the verbal outbursts when I was about 16, 17. So I just have the muscle twitches and shit now. The little but it's okay, Eddie. It's okay. You know, tease me all you want. It's all right. You know, I've dealt with it for 55 years. It's okay.
I ain't
I'm
gonna
used to it by now.
I ain't
Well,
gonna
'cause
tease you
that's
with
what
it, but I wish I had it. Then I have every
No, you don't.
yeah, I do. That way I have every reason in the world why I'd be calling people
All
bitches.
right. At least now you have an excuse to be an asshole, right?
Right. I have a
Yeah.
reason
See, that's how I see it. It's like, yeah,
for that.
you know.
Traffic ticket. I can do that to a police officer and tell him I got Tourette's syndrome. I just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I didn't know I was speeding, bitch. I didn't know I was speeding, fucker."
Okay, so Eddie, whenever you get pulled over by a cop and you got your window up, just look at him, roll your eyes in the back of your head, and lick the window and see what he does.
No, I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that
I
everybody.
got the physical ticks though. So.
I do hope that everybody had a great night tonight. A huge shout out to Keith and a huge shout out to everybody that's here. I also want to give a shout out to all our Facebook group fam, and you know who you are. There's so many of you. I just can't name you all, and we thank you all so much from the bottom of our heart. You know, for bringing us into your home. Also,
I'm sorry for
another.
everybody in the chat.
You okay?
You're okay. Just you're not in trouble, but
You
you're
did a
not.
good
You're not
job.
on
You
your
did
tablet.
what
So
you-
that's good.
Hey Tony. Sorry I threw you under the bus, bro.
But I also want to thank
That's
Keith's
okay.
family also because they're supporting him, and I'm glad that you have a support system. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people that have whether they've seen Bigfoot or anything, they don't have a large support system. So here and even there in his house, he has one. You have a support system here and there. And I thank you and I thank your family to the utmost. So,
Cool.
Hi, Michelle.
Michelle, thank you so much for being here. She is wonderful. She also has a great channel. Check out her paranormal videos. Her orbs is off the chain. I'm telling you. As a matter of fact, I want you guys to put your links in. Christina, only one put a link in. Everybody probably wondering, what's a link? Oh, you mean like a Jack Links? I don't have any
I
Jack.
could go for some Jack Links.
I bet you
That does
can.
sound good.
Michelle, I subscribed, so I'll check out what you got.
Yes. Everybody go by, check out Michelle. If you got a blue wrench, all you got to do is go to the side there, hit those 3 dots, and go up, and it'll say go to channel, and you'll see their channel. That's all you got to do. Everyday Treasures. Another,
No,
go by, check him out. Face the Ace. Check him out. Check everybody out.
who wants to mess with Face Ace? I mean, come on.
Again, I want to thank you, Keith. Keith, I got to figure out how. Do you have me on Facebook? Can I message you?
Nope, not at all. I don't have any social media.
Okay, so this is
Oh.
what I'm gonna put my.
Email.
So if you want to get with my phone number or anything like that, we can either do it after the show if we can stay hooked up like that, or get a hold of Selena down there, Southern Belle. She's got my number.
Okay, because this is what I just did. There's my email right there. So
Okay, hold on.
if you email me, we can exchange that way.
Oh, fucker, I can't find a pen.
At least for
Hold
now.
on.
And I'll give you my phone number.
All right, hold on. There it is,
Oh,
right
yeah,
in front
we're
of my
not
face.
leaving. Abyss Paranormal said, Eddie, did you ever look up the book, The Orb Project? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. And you know what? Let me write that down. I will do that. Now that you mentioned, because now that you mentioned that, Abyss, did I write it down? Oh, okay, I got it right here. Damn, why didn't I look it up then? What was I doing? Oh, I was working.
It's called Old Age.
So that's what, Frank _ Johnson 68. Is that what that
Uh-huh.
is?
Yep.
Okay,
at
I'll just-
yahoo.com.
If I'm looking at my phone or looking off all the time, I'm just trying to watch my TV.
Oh no, it's all good because you're probably doing the same thing as me. Because I got a big screen television right here, 65,
Yep, that's it.
and I'm doing the exact same thing. But because I know once I get off of here, that's it. Everybody's gone. That's why I went ahead and gave you my email address right now.
All right.
So I want to thank you, and let me see. I'm gonna try to name everybody that's here. Everyday Treasures, Face the Ace, Jason Finch, Lisa J, Octavian, Abyss Paranormal. I mentioned Everyday Treasures, Christina, of course, and Boomer, my Kelly. Thank you guys so much for being here. Big Ben, if you're still here. Shaw Woman, Nalisha, Michigander Man, Greg's Inferno, Amanda's Crazy Life. And if I missed anybody, I do apologize, but I still love you guys regardless. I just want you guys to have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Next week, like I said, it's going to be open panel, but week after next, it's going to be part 2 of where we left off tonight with Keith. So make sure you stay tuned, locked in, and until then, stay blessed. Have a great night, everybody, and see you next week. Good night.